Tulsa has been selected as one of 4 communities to participate in the launch of a national program designed to break the link between homelessness and incarceration. Kennedy Sepulvedo joins us now with more details on the Just Home project. Kennedy.
Rich, Partner Tulsa, Housing Solutions Tulsa, the Terrence Crutcher Foundation, and Family and Children's Services have teamed up for the Just Home project. A major focus for the project is to create more affordable housing opportunities in Tulsa.
Right now in Tulsa, 97% of our housing is occupied.
Shada Brown with the Terrence Crutcher Foundation says that percentage includes an already limited supply of affordable housing options.
We have a big issue in this city with a lack of affordable housing in general. There really aren't adequate housing options, and currently our shelters are at max.
In Tulsa County, we see about 200 to 300 people become newly homeless every single month. And we're only really able to house with the current housing opportunities about 75 to 125 a month.
Loss of job, domestic violence, an increase in mental health issues, and the pandemic all contribute to the rising number of people experiencing homelessness. Another major factor is evictions. According to Eviction Lab, Tulsa's eviction rate ranks 11th highest in the nation. Other Oklahoma cities ranked in the top 100 on Eviction Lab: Oklahoma City at 20, Norman at 83, and Broken Arrow is ranked 90th. Tulsa, along with Charleston County, South Carolina, Minnehaha County, South Dakota, and the city and county of San Francisco, California, were selected to participate in the Just Home project launched by the MacArthur Foundation and Urban Institute to advance community-driven efforts to break links between housing instability and incarceration.
We have received a grant of $370,000 to support us through a planning process that is going to go on through September 30th. After September 30th, we will be able to announce the results of that, and that's going to be a housing action investment plan.
Part of the grant money will create a lived experience manager position at Housing Solutions Tulsa.
This grant is going to allow us to do is engage in an ongoing community engagement process, and really centered at the heart of that community engagement is those with lived experience. So those who have firsthand experienced housing instability, jail incarceration, and other barriers to housing.
Which I think is really unique. Like a lot of times there are people, separate from the lived experience making decisions and plans on a community's behalf.
According to Housing Solutions Tulsa's 2022 point-in-time study, 1,063 Tulsans are houseless or unsheltered. 55% of the people surveyed said they had a history of incarceration.
With the incarceration rates in Oklahoma and with the barriers that being justice involved creates for housing, we have seen just a steady block for people who are trying to get housed either post-incarceration or post some sort of justice involvement.
When seeking a place to live, people involved in the justice system often get screened out for having a felony, recent criminal charges, or violent criminal charges.
They, as a landlord, have the ability to put whatever screening criteria they feel is appropriate in place, as long as it doesn't violate fair housing laws. And screening out people because of criminal background, unfortunately, does not currently violate any fair housing laws in Oklahoma.
Not only are justice-involved people more likely to experience homelessness, but those people who are homeless are 7 times more likely to wind up incarcerated.
Since that's one of the leading barriers to housing in our community, all that does is perpetuate their homelessness.
The barriers faced by people experiencing homelessness can add up, and a recent proposed city ordinance would not help if passed.
A few weeks ago, our mayor and Tulsa Police Department put forward a new ordinance at City Hall that allowed an officer discretion to fine or even arrest someone who's maybe loitering or on a city street or sidewalk.
Our hope is that instead of fining people with amounts that they certainly can't pay or putting them in jail for 5 or 10 days, that instead we can work together to build housing opportunities, because we know that's what's actually going to alleviate our unsheltered crisis.
Once the group's planning process for the Just Home project is complete, they will be eligible to access a $15 million pool of investment funds through the MacArthur Foundation to implement their plan. Like Tulsa, Oklahoma's largest city has its own projects in the works to combat the unsheltered crisis. Oklahoma City received a hefty grant of its own, $3 million from the Youth Homelessness Demonstration Program to prevent and end youth homelessness. Oklahoma City is also taking a lived experience approach to this project.
Youth who've experienced homelessness actually get to help select the projects and work on those specific projects. So that's one of the things that we think is really powerful.
Studies show that 20% of foster youth will be homeless when they age out. 25% will be incarcerated within 2 years of aging out, and 90% of foster children with 5 or more placements in the system will enter the criminal justice system.
If we can work with youth early on and get them out of that cycle, that will help with them not getting incarcerated as well as not having to deal with the homelessness system overall.
Another homelessness initiative is in the works for Oklahoma City. $50 million is set aside for the MAPS 4 project, but it is still early to know what the city plans to do.